himself. Okay? So, because of that, in ultimate level, neither you nor me are irritating. That's the very good. And because of that, because of this, that's why we have a hope to get fully enlightenment. Hope to get. We are naturally very good. We have a full potential. That's why everything is possible. That's why even we can be Buddha. That's why every sentient beings, even in the smallest insight, have a full potential to be Buddha. Then we don't have to talk about like human beings, species human beings like us. Only thing we look to us dumb. Only thing we are not recognizing our quality, our this potential. We always looking down ourselves, making disencourage ourselves, and then actually making kind of like this because of the ignorance. Then also in conventional level, so I want to if you have any question on this part, please raise hand. I can answer one or two question on it. If you don't have, or if you want to keep in the letter, also up to you. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. You know, earlier what we talk, we are naturally, we are primordially, no other than Buddha himself. That means that we are primordially pure. And that is already Buddha. That is the primordially means from beginning, if there is a beginning. So there's no needed cause for this. So, and also, actually, yeah. So, in reality, like our nature, usually in for sake of the conversation, we label many ways: nature, mind, Buddha nature, Dharma dhatu, emptiness, beyond from for exams. So we labeling a lot of different ways for sake of the conversation. So today we are discussing about who we are, who you are. In reality, there is no you and me. As long as there is a duality, you and me, that means we are already dominated by ignorance or duality minded. So in a reality, like that, that's why the Buddha is causeless in reality. In the non-conventional level, okay? In conventional level, also the good news is in conventional level, if you do further more analyze, without analyze, yes, many of you think the irritating one is myself. I think you are Buddhist. Most of them who think myself is the irritating one, you have already influenced by Buddhism. And who think there are many of you think you are irritating one. Those are we just think is without analyze, without even the analyze in the relative ways. In a relative level, even in our conventional analytical system, using conventional analytical system, if we do analyze a little bit, so neither you nor me is irritating. Also another good news. You know, which are the real irritating one is actually ignorance, a duality mind, dualistic mind. Another way is dualistic mind. Or in some philosophy, Buddhist philosopher, they say that 4 wrong views or 4 wrong concepts, those are really irritating in conventional level, you know, because those are the main cause of we are putting in this cage of the birth and death. 4 wrong views, 4 wrong views. For example, okay, we are just use commonly accept analytical system. We think, you know, okay, you are irritating, or I'm irritating. We think I am. Actually, who is I? Maybe without analyze, very easy to say, where is Chuying Dorje? If I asked, you easy to answer that on that question. If I ask you, can you point your finger, where is me? You will point like this. That's easier. Everybody think you are right because he's here. If I ask you to close to come to me, as you point your finger, you will point the finger or either my forehead or lower body, or where are you going to point? Where am I? When your finger point on my head, I will say that is not me. That is my forehead. You know, you completely think it is me, but it's not completely me. It is just my skin, or my head part of my head. If you point your finger on my right hand, you are here. You think I'm here, but it is not me. It is my just hand. So where I am, how you're wrong. I mean, how you are wrong that you are irritating. Even if you don't know where you are. You know, you just using this logic. This not I made up. It's a Shanti Deva's the reasoning to establishing who-less, you-less, self-less. So these kind of things are not just idea. It's, you know, it's if you really think, you okay. No, you can't point where you are there. Maybe you will say like that. You are there. So what I'm trying to say that my skin is not me. My body is not me. Maybe you think my soul or mind is you, but then you can't point your finger on it. Because even I myself don't know where's my soul or my mind. How can you can point your finger on it? You just think about this way. Think about this way. So where am I? So if you couldn't find who you are really, then you will know how wrong you are when you think you are irritating one. So in a conventional level, but then in this level, so I'm not irritating when you are not irritating in this level as well. Then who is the irritating one is that, as I mentioned it, it's our defilement. The 4 wrong views, looking at our body as clean, looking at the samsaric pleasure is happiness and being attached. And looking at five aggregates is self. Looking at compounded things as permanent. Those we have naturally have this four wrong concept. Wrong concept. Then this concept we have from the naturally we have. That's why we are just attached. Okay, another way to say that, how we think our body is really pure, right? If our plate is leg by the dog, outside dog, not inside dog, you probably will not able to eat on that plate because you think our body is much more clean than the dog. Dog already in impurity, already impure. We think like that, and we think our body is so clean, and that's why we are not even staying on the ground where dust is. And we think our body is so clean, but just we do analyze. Really, our body is like clean as like we think. Actually, our body is we don't have to talk a lot. Even the purity thing, like medicine or flowers, whatever, just put it on your mouth and take out. The pure thing is already actually completely impure, right? That means even why the hotels bed sheet and pillar piece have to wash every day. Even one night we touch in our body is already impurity, other cleanliness things. Our body is like that, actually, if we do really analyze on it. But still we think our body is so clean. This kind of the wrong concept are real irritating one. And then also that the concept which they look at the compounded things as permanent. For example, I would tell you, if you have you ever been to Varanasi? And have you seen this Ganga River? How many times have you been? 1 or 2 times, okay? First time you saw the Ganga River there. Second time when you go there, ask you, have you ever seen this Ganga River have ever seen before? If I ask you, you will say, yes, I saw it 5 or 10 years ago. You have a concept that is exactly the same. The river is same. You think like that. In conventional level, is it the same? But I will tell you, 5 years later, the water is probably have already reached in the ocean. Not there anymore. There's nothing sameness of what you have seen 5 years ago. But in our concept is that we think it's a sameness. It's a same, exactly same. This is just I'm giving example. Same like our body, same our mind, same our everyday life. It's momentarily changed, everything. But we are thinking it's the same, permanent. This kind of the concept is a real irritating one. And then they are irritating and dominate us, and dominate us, dominate you. Everyone is dominated by this kind of wrong concept or wrong defilement. So, what I'm trying to say here, what the Buddhist will hear here is some solution, some ideas. Where once you have this kind of idea, not only idea, insight, to seeing that. Okay, I'll give another example. Once a proper kind doctor, physician, okay, I would say physician or doctor, meet some patients who has spirit inside, spirit, ghost, okay, inside, spirit in the inside, and who dominated by ghost, and then there is a completely being crazy. And once this kind doctrine recognize the person is dominated by this ghost, even the patient is so angry to doctor and saying all the bad things, everything to the doctor, but doctor will not angry to him, because doctor will understood he is not the one who really want. He is dominated by the spirit or ghost. That's why he have no choice. Instead, getting angry to the person, trying to solve the problems, trying to avoiding those spirit from the patients, will become like that. If we know like this, just now what I mentioned earlier, you are not irritating one, but you are dominated by demon or ghost of your emotion, ghost of your defilement. Once we know that, then we are not getting mad to you. I mean, and because we should be in some Buddhist philosophy, and said that usually being a Buddhist practitioner should be like a lion. Lion, you know. Why they say it should be as lion? Because if you throw the stone to lion will not attack the stone, while lion will attack to who throw the stone to you. Dogs, if you throw the stone to dog will usually follow the stone, not attack back to the person who throw it. Being a good practitioner, we should be as lion. For example, like the person who are maybe using harsh words, or basically who are irritating to you. Okay, at that time, you should not attack to the person. You should try to attack the who really made him to or her to irritating to me, which is the emotional, the defilement. We should, instead of the only way to solve those defilement is show some wisdom, using some wisdom, then can solve it. No. So we should be this also telling that the person is not irritating. You and me are not irritating. Who are dominant? We are you. Those emotions, those wrong views, wrong concept, those are kind of irritating in the relative level. So, yes, so having this kind of, this kind, I have been talking on in the last few minutes, sharing you some Buddhist idea. But it's not just uh, the theory or idea. It's also really practical, which I pick up to share. The Buddhist knowledge is all comes from the Buddhist practical teaching, which is really helpful in our like modern people, because most of modern people are analytical person and a skeptical person. They if you know so it's a these kind of things are really helpful area. So if you have any questions, maybe we will have a little bit discuss on it.
Kenpo, is there any way to prove that we have the Buddha nature?
Okay. Yes. Very good question. How can we prove? In order to prove whether we have a Buddha nature or not, we need to have some idea of the Buddha nature first. What do you think usually the Buddha nature? Amina, what do you think Buddha nature is? Okay, can you?
Compassion,
Okay.
loving kindness,
Okay,
wisdom,
okay,
omniscience.
okay, okay. Very good, very good. Okay, according to Mahayana Buddhism, especially Madhyamaka Buddhism, the generally compassion, loving kindness, African mind, those are not Buddha nature. Buddha nature means it's our reality. As I mentioned at beginning our talk, our nature means the nature of our mind. Usually we call the Dhamma Dhatu. Also said inseparable between inseparable clarity and emptiness. So that's another Buddhist terms, but is trying to make symbol. Buddha nature means is as I mentioned to you, and in our reality is the nature of the Buddha. Our reality is the nature of the Buddha. So what is our reality? What is our reality? We need to have some idea of what is our reality. What we see, what we heard, what we think are not a reality. Buddha himself also said that those who see me as a form, those who hear me as a sound, they have a wrong idea about me, and they have no way to see me and hear me. He said like that. So that means that means is that real this Buddha is not a kind of a beautiful form what we brand on the the wall, beautiful those are just for how to say for sake of the leading us, for sake of the leading us. Real Buddha is actually Buddha himself is just a phenomenous nature. The phenomenous nature its nature is actually already beyond from this kind of five aggregates. So the Buddha, this kind of Buddha nature, this Buddha nature is it's a nature of a form, nature of our mind, nature of our feeling, nature of our feelings, nature, reality, our emotions, reality, our the forms, reality, are the Buddha nature. Those Buddha nature is unchangeable. What it was, it is, it will be is the same. So the Buddha nature, and this is a okay. If you have study about the Uttara Tantra, then it's talk a lot about the Buddha nature. If you have also have study about Madhyamaka Avatara, and Madhyamaka Avatara also discuss about a lot of the Buddha nature, the meaning of the Buddha nature, but not using the Buddha nature terms a lot, but the meaning of the Buddha nature is talk about a lot. Then also, if you have study of the Heart Sutra, in the Heart Sutra also actually discuss about lot of the aspect of the Buddha nature. No, generally, okay, another way to say emptiness. Have you heard emptiness? Emptiness means is not just nothingness. Emptiness means is in the reality, the things are reality are not as we see. Form are not in reality. The form itself are not truly existed as we see. The feeling are not truly existed as we feel. Consciousness are not truly existed as we are aware. But then, who will the nature of the five aggregates of nature of the sentient beings is, as I mentioned, it's purity. It's primordially pure. It's just like a sky. That is what is called the Buddha nature. That is what you call because of we have this kind of Buddha nature. We have to using this kind of term for sake of the conversation. We have the Buddha nature. That's why we are arising compassion. That's why we have a chance to arising compassion, loving kindness, and loving kindness, and also awakened mind, or enlightened mind, or bodhicitta. Those we have chance. And so Buddha nature is more like object of the wisdom. Compassion and loving kindness, all those are really necessary for enlightened, getting full enlightened, full awakening, and those are necessary for. Usually we call those are more skillful aspect, method aspect. So you in Mahayana there are wisdom aspect, method aspect, two aspect. So loving kindness, compassion, those the awakened mind, those are the more kind of skillful aspect. So that means that the Buddha nature. Okay, I will go back to earlier what I trying to explain to you. Buddha himself said, we are the Buddha, right? Samchi tamchi sonjinis. All the sentient beings are the Buddha. But we are covered by impurity. Once we dispel the impurity, then not only naturally we are Buddha, even conventionally we are Buddha at that time. So that this also talking about Buddha nature, what we there samchi thamche sonjin, all the sentient beings are Buddha, means all the sentient beings are in reality, all the sentient beings are purity dharma dhatu. So in that reality, there's no difference between Buddha and us. In that reality, no different you and me. So like that, Buddha nature means like that. So for sake of the conversation, usually we said every sentient being has Buddha nature. That means the nature of the sentient beings is not